into multiplying and dividing things that are in scientific notation. If I were going to do this on my calculator, it'd be a big long entry. I would do this. 3 times 10 caret 8, and then 1.3 times 10 caret 6. Go ahead and multiply that out on your calculator. You get 3.9 times 10 to the 14th. That kind of shows up really little over on the side, right? Because your exponent is pretty big, it's going to show up in scientific notation. Sometimes on your calculator it will show up in standard form and you'll have to put it in scientific notation. Now if I'm not going to use my calculator, then if we kind of look to see what happened here. What happened here is they ended up taking the 3 times the 1.3. 3 times 1.3 is that 3.9, right? Then they did the 10 to the 8th times the 10 to the 6th. Previously we said, well, if we're multiplying, we add our exponents together. And so if you took 8 plus 6, you get the 10 to the 14th power. So if you're not going to use your calculator, you're multiplying the front numbers together, and then you're adding the exponents on your power of 10. So number 14, we're going to do that one both ways because it's going to look a little bit different on your calculator. So if you do 4.8 times 10 to the 5th power, so 10 caret 5, and then 0.8 times 10 to the negative 4th power.
Says 38.4.
38.4. So on this one, because your exponent isn't going to be very big, it gives you an answer in standard form, and you need to put it in scientific notation because it tells us to write our answer in scientific notation. So if I used my calculator and I put that in scientific notation, then where would the decimal have to go?
3.84.
It'd be 3.84 times 10 to the
1.
first power, exactly. So again, if we did this one doing without our calculator, or at least, you know, the other method, if I do 4.8 times 0.8, multiplying the two front numbers together, so 4.8 times 0.8 gives me that way Angelique doesn't have to do them all.
2.84.
There's our 3.84. And then if I have 10 to the 5th times 10 to the negative 4, my rule is to add those exponents. So 5 plus negative 4 gives me the 10 to the 1st power. So either way I get the same answer. I just have to watch that the calculator gives me this in standard form, and I would have to change it into scientific notation since the directions tell me I want it in scientific notation. So number 15 there, if we just do it the second method here, multiplying the 2.3 times the 5.5.
12.65.
12.65. And then if I have 10 to the negative 2 times 10 to the negative 3, I would get
10 to the negative
times 10 to the negative 5th. Now the problem with that one, again, is it's not technically in scientific notation
5. So you do this
because I need to move the decimal, exactly. So I would have 1.265 times 10 to the negative what? 6. Wait a minute here, because that one's going backwards. So if I had that one in standard form, it'd be 0.000125, and so it's actually going to go negative 4th because I'm moving it one more this way, since it's negative instead of positive.
It would be negative 2 minus negative 3.
You add the exponents. So if I add a negative 2 plus a negative 3,
Okay.
you get negative 5. So again, the problem here, sometimes you don't end up with a number between 1 and 10, and then you have to get it back into scientific notation. So if it helps, rewrite it or put it in standard form first, and then go back from there. And you should always be able to sort of at least double check it with your calculator.